Hey guys, welcome back to the Friday Vlog, where we discuss activity that goes on here with the BuzWeaver channel. That includes things like current events, headlines that are in the news, pop culture, social media, technology, and items of interest that come up during the week that allow us to have a little bit of a dialogue. I want to welcome all of you guys from New Tech and, of course, all of you here on YouTube for your guys' continued support.
We start things off from the Republican brief. Now, it's amazing to think that just last week marked the one-year anniversary of the Russian special operation, or as Ukraine likes to refer to it as, the invasion of their country and occupation. Pentagon admits Russia captured American weapons in Ukraine. Disastrous Democrat Joe Biden administration has allowed Russia to capture American weapons and sell them as if the administration's breach of American weapons and its technology, according to one source. As if it isn't bad in the Middle East that Biden's abandoned Afghanistan, leaving behind billions of dollars of top American military equipment, now the situation is even worse if true. So, ladies and gentlemen, it's not a mystery that during the early phases of the establishment uniparty administration of Joe Biden, that Afghanistan ended disastrously with the death of 13 American service personnel. And it seems that the media has just kind of let that go to the side. If this had happened under President, say for example, this had happened under Trump, they would still be talking about it to this very day. The Pentagon admitted that Russia had captured American weapons in Ukraine, according to one whistleblower, as the media is reporting that Congress is suspicious of fraud in the gifting of American weapons to Ukraine, making the situation in the region even more confusing. But this is not uncommon, and also why the Americans are reluctant to send specific types of equipment with newer technology on them, because capturing of equipment is a very common thing in the war, not to mention the fact that even within Ukraine, there are levels of corruption, some of them being caught for having sold or misused American funds. American weapons provided to Ukraine have been captured by Russia on the battlefield, a top Department of Defense official told Congress on Tuesday. Over the past year, Washington has provided Kyiv with nearly $45 billion in military aid. Quite extraordinary. So yet another key marker here, when we had the situation in Ohio and Biden refused to send FEMA down there, yet $45 billion in military aid is going to Ukraine, among other humanitarian aid and other money in general that we send not only just to Ukraine but across the world. So Undersecretary of Kyiv Policy Colin Kael claimed Moscow was capturing American weapons and selling them on the black market. Our assessment is if some of these systems have been diverted, it's by Russia, who have captured things on the battlefield, which always happens. As I mentioned earlier, that does happen quite often. After Russian forces invaded Ukraine just over a year ago, the Joe Biden administration began providing Kyiv with unprecedented weapon transfers. The U.S. has provided Ukraine with $44.3 billion in military assistance from January 24, 2022 to January 15, 2023, according to the Kyle Institute from the World Economy, or for the world economy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I am not opposed to helping Ukraine at all. Now, of course, I have my own thoughts on the EU and NATO, as, you know, in general. But from the Hill, here's every weapon U.S. has supplied to Ukraine with $13 billion. And it's absolutely extraordinary, this list. Now, I will link this article down below because, of course, I'm not going to go through each section of this, but we'll cover some of it. So you have high mobile artillery rocket systems, the HIMARS, 1,500 tube launchers, howitzers, mortar systems, advanced surface-to-air missiles, Ghost tactical unmanned air systems, Switchblade, which is part of that tactical weapon system, Puma unmanned aerial systems, so these are more drones, along with the M117 helicopters, Harpoon coastal defense systems, as we've seen some of those haven't been used. I think the ones from the UK are the ones, the Harpoons that they were used for to hit some of the ships and so forth. The main fleet, what was it? The main fleet carrier of Russia, sank by Ukrainians who don't even have a navy. Scan Eagle unmanned aerial systems. Wow, we got just a ton of equipment. Javelins, which are, devastating against armor and vehicles and tanks. High-speed anti-radiation missiles. Then we got other equipment. Then you can see just a series of radars, vehicles and boats, explosives, small arms, ammunition, munitions, equipment, and of course just tons and tons and tons of money, which a lot of people are wondering how it's being used, how it's being distributed, along with equipment and gear. As we have seen, or as I have been following, Denis, for example, who is a commercial pilot for Ukraine, not flying now, but of course giving us a lot of news out of Ukraine on what's going on there. Then we have Speak the Truth, an American U.S. sniper from the Army. And, of course, we have from the National Guard there in Ukraine, we have Operator Starsky. And so I watch these guys daily and get the updates out of Ukraine to see what all is going on. However, I am not surprised that, some of the equipment and so forth is being captured, which is, as the one individual said from the Pentagon, it's very common for this sort of thing to happen. But it is extraordinary to think that this is continuing to go on after a year. And, of course, the United States is still helping Ukraine with all of this. And, people are questioning the continuation of it. How long is it going to be going on? Whether or not this is going to escalate, as, of course, we've covered China, Taiwan, the issues there, and situations with Iran, perhaps supplying equipment to Russia. And, of course, China will be meeting with Russia here very soon. So there might be some exchange of equipment and gear there as well, creating a rather interesting dilemma for the United States, as well as we covered the fact that the United States is sending additional Marines or other military personnel to the island of Taiwan, Taipei, as they like, or the Chinese would like us to refer to it as. But nonetheless, guys, that's what I have for you this Friday.
All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for this Friday vlog. Thank you for the likes, the shares, and the comments. Below this video, you can find the various social media links that I belong to, where you can see my daily post, as well as the Amazon link. If you guys are Prime members or order frequently from Amazon, you guys can use that link, go to the landing page, and search for what you're looking for. And of course, it helps out the channel. Thank you for the likes, the shares, for those on New Tech, as well as here on YouTube, and appearing right there on the screen for all of you watching on YouTube. That would be the channel icon. You can click on that to subscribe, as well as to select notifications. That way you know when there's content here on the channel. And I'll see all you guys right there behind that camera next week.